Good morning. Welcome. So, hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about something that has been hitting harder and more regularly that I'm seeing, which is homeowners that are going into financial distress. And when you're in financial distress as a homeowner, and maybe it's about to get hard to make that payment, or you're not able to make the payment, calls are coming in, people are knocking at your door, sending you letters. I know it's super stressful. So, the first thing I wanted to say is that everybody at some point will experience something in their life that could very well lead to a financial hardship that doesn't reflect on who you are as a person. It just is a circumstance you're going through right now. So that's the number one thing. The second thing is that you really need to understand the process. And there is a very specific process for most foreclosure actions in California along the non-judicial route. So I wanted to talk to you about that and understanding what you can do to help yourself. I'm a realtor, so my job is to help people buy, sell, invest, basically anything to do with finding that home and getting you into the next step. But when you're in a financial hardship, there are many, many stops along the way that could potentially help you to stay in your home or at least keep you in a better financial position to recover once the financial hardship is over. And everything will end at some point in time. Every bad thing, you're going to turn a corner. So just positioning yourself to make it through this difficult time until you get around that corner is key and the most important thing. So let's talk about that. And I did say a keyword, non-judicial foreclosure. Now, this is the first time I've tried to record a video like this using Zoom. I've taught lots of classes on Zoom. I've never done a video. So we'll see how it goes. And just know anything I talk about, I'm going to be posting this over onto YouTube. And I will put links in the description below the video so that you can get more resources. Always welcome to reach out to me. And please, if you find this helpful, I'd appreciate it if you'd like, comment, share. It helps with the algorithm. Thank you so much. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Sorry, I hate the dead air. But yeah, this is my first attempt at doing it this way. Okay, this is me. So how to avoid foreclosure. So that's the number one key is that, yes, if you decide to sell, I want you to call me because I am fabulous and I will get your home sold. But if we can avoid that and keep you in your home, that's great too. But the main thing is to avoid the foreclosure. Now, in the state of California, as I said, most of the foreclosures that are going on, if you're having financial hardships paying on the note of your house, are called non-judiciary. That means it's not going through the court in the same way as something like maybe a tax lien would go through. So, and then we'll give you some tips along the way, as I said. Okay, so first off, when we were talking about not losing the house, if you know that you have something coming up that's going to affect your ability to make the payments, you need to communicate with your loan service provider. Don't avoid calling them and telling them. They can't speed up the process and take the home away any faster. Notifying them won't cause them to realize there's a problem and get on it quicker. There are specific steps to take for them to be able to take your home. So letting them know faster can only help you as the homeowner. They may have something in place, such as a forbearance or deferment, or they may be able to get you into a modification quicker so you have less stress. So that's the number one thing. So you should be able to look at your payment stubs and find their customer service department, and you can talk to them, tell them you need to talk to somebody about a financial hardship, and they'll get you to the correct department. Now, I am in San Joaquin County. I cover several of the surrounding counties, but my primary area is San Joaquin County. And again, I am in California. And what I talk about in this video is by no means to replace the advice of a licensed attorney. This is not legal advice. This is just going off of my experience as an agent that works extensively with people going through life events. So a life event can be many things, but in this instance, it's a financial hardship. I usually am triggered to contact you, to knock on your door, to call you when you've gone into default. But there's some few things that come along before that. So according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, the delinquency rate was up 25 basis points from the second quarter of 2023 and 17 basis points from 1 year ago. So all that to say that you are not alone if you're having a tough time. And then I do watch the defaults that happen in my area. So San Joaquin County, we had 87 notice of default filings in the last 60 days. That's actually triggered after you're at least 4 months behind on the payment. So up until then, I don't see that you're having a financial problem. But at that point, this will trigger these results. And now as I go back, I see a lot of people were able, the majority of people were able to work something out with their bank and get that default notice removed and their loan reinstated at normal, as a normal loan. Anyway, so homeowners are experiencing financial difficulties. It's on the rise. You're not alone. We're here to help you. Again, the main thing to note is that you have options. The typical response is to avoid the problem. I mean, I know I've done it myself. Hopefully, you're hoping that you're going to get a job quickly or something, there's going to be some kind of windfall or something's going to happen that's going to help you get out of this situation so you don't have to make the uncomfortable calls and make the uncomfortable decisions. It's way easier to avoid it, but it actually isn't in the long run. So don't avoid if you want to stay in your home or if you want to save your credit. So let's talk about the steps of a foreclosure. So the number one step, prevention. So once you are 30 days behind, or sorry, prevention, a minimum before 30 days before filing an official default notice, which happens at least 4 months after you've missed payments, your lending service provider will start in with the prevention step. So what that means is they'll start trying to call and contact you. You'll probably start getting letters saying, call this number. And that is them, they're assigning somebody to get a hold of you to try and discuss what's going on financially that's causing you not to be able to make your payment. And this has to happen before they can actually file a default. Now, if you don't answer the phone or respond to them, we're going to move on to the next step. But at this point, you can tell them what's happening and they can work with you to either get you caught up on your payments, to maybe avoid some fees if that's what's holding you back, to get you assigned over to the modification department if there's a financial reason that makes sense for them to be able to do that. The thing to remember is that our banks, they took a big hit back in 08, 09, 10, 11. And a lot of things were changed. A lot of laws were put into place to protect homeowners, but they also took a big hit to their reputation. They took a big hit to their pocketbooks, and they really don't want to have to take the house from you and go through all of that. So they really are dedicated to trying to find a resolution to foreclosing on your home. So it's good to pick up the phone at this point in time and call them. Now, the other thing you can do if you don't feel like doing that is you can call me and I'd be happy to talk to you about the process of getting your home sold for the highest dollar. What's a lot different now versus when we had our financial crisis with the housing market that caused all of the homes to really plummet in value is that most people did buy when it was a much lower market, and they have equity. So even people that are in financial distress right now, typically they still have equity in their home, meaning they can sell it for more than what they bought it for, which is a good thing to know because that means that even if you're having a hard time, if you can sell that home for more than you purchased it for, you're going to walk away with some money in your pocket, and maybe that can put you in a rental or help you downsize or do something else for the time being until you get over this financial hardship. And if you do it sooner before your credit gets hit really hard, it's going to make it easier to find somebody to rent to you or to figure out a different situation versus if your credit has taken a big nosedive as well. So answer the phone. Now, if we move on to the next step, you're not able to get into some kind of resolution in the prevention stage, the bank will move to the notice of default filing. So this can be filed as soon as you've missed 4 months of payments. And it's going to be, they're going to give you a minimum of 90 days to try and resolve it before they move on to the next steps. Now, there can be a lot of delays in this period. If you're talking to the bank and working through the different processes of trying to, again, defer those payments, talk to the modification, working something out with them, listing the home even can help. It can push that back. If you do file for a modification of your mortgage, they have to stop all collection activities. They cannot continue by law to charge you fees associated with being late until you proceed through the modification process. And that will delay them from putting on after the 90 days an auction date as well. They have to get through the modification process. Now, if you get denied the modification process, you can still appeal that. So that will delay it some more. Or if you get denied and you appeal and that's denied, but something else has changed financially that might change your circumstances, you can apply again. So as you see, this is a lengthy process. And the thing to keep in mind about the modification process or any other type of loss mitigation processes is that once you apply for it, your lending service provider will assign you to one person or one group within their organization. So you should be talking to the same people every time about your case. And these people, once you file, they have, I believe they said 5 to 10 days. I can't remember which. I'm sorry. Again, this is by no means to replace a legal advice or the advice of your lending service provider, but they have very limited amount of time to notify you about what needs to be turned in, what's missing, if there's anything that's inaccurate in your application, and what the timeline is for helping you get a resolution. Right in this area as well is where if you decide you want to speak to an agent, because by this point, the notice of default is public record. So you will probably start hearing from people like myself that really focus on helping people that are in difficult life events. And a difficult life event, just as a sidebar, really does warrant you working with an agent that specializes in difficult life events. You don't want to work with somebody that's doing this, I mean, in my opinion, part-time or doesn't understand the process, right? You want to work with somebody that does this, that takes the time to understand the process, that is 100% guaranteed to helping to get your home sold so you don't get to the point where you lose it. So right now, if you decide to go in that route, there are other routes to go. But if you decide to go on that route, time is of the essence for you to make sure that we mitigate negative credit and we're able to put money in your pocket with the equity you have. Now, on the sidebar, if you don't have equity, maybe you bought in the last year and there's not a lot of equity to be had, there's still a thing called short sales. They were really big back when the market crashed years ago and not so big now, but they're still out there. And that's where we're talking to your loss mitigating department that's been assigned to you from your loan service provider, and they have a packet that they can send you. So that packet you'll request to try and get a short sale if it makes sense. They're going to send that out and we'll be filling that out and your agent will fill it out and they will give you permission to move forward with a short sale. And that will change the process. We could talk about that in detail as well. I actually do have a packet I put together for people that are in financial hardship to go over the different ways that we can help you if you choose to sell. You have your notice of default filing. There's some ways to delay it, but basically you have a minimum of 90 days to resolve before the next step. There's also bankruptcy, which will put everything on pause until the bankruptcy proceeds. And again, you would want to talk to an attorney because there's different types of bankruptcy. Some types can, and depending on your home status and the equity you have in it, some types can protect your home, others cannot. Sometimes your trustee that will be assigned to you in a bankruptcy will force you to sell the home. Other circumstances won't. But while you're in the filing, you will usually be able to stay in your home and it will stop the fees from accruing and it'll stop the calls. So definitely, again, options, right? However, if you do none of this, or if you've gone through, your modification denial and appeal, maybe your reapplication, and now you have a minimum of 90 days if you do nothing, or if you've done all of that to sell the home or figure out a resolution before they move to a notice of sale date. So this is typically when you hear about people buying a house on the courtroom steps. This is when you get the notice of sale date. So I see it I look and I watch these come up on a site for me called auction.com. That's how I verify those. And even if you have a sales date, you're still the owner of your home. So it's still not too late to go back and talk to your bank and maybe figure something else out. Typically, unless they agree to make a last minute modification, at the point that you get a sales date, you're going to have to pay the whole thing off. They don't typically want to reinstate unless you really work with them on it. So again, something to keep in mind. But when I do watch these auction dates that come up, you're still the owner. You can still sell before the auction date. If you list it, a lot of times they'll give you a little bit more time. I'll see these auction dates get pushed back over and over and over again. So it doesn't necessarily mean that because you have 90 days with an auction date that your house is going to sell on the courtroom steps on those 90 days, right? If it does get to that point, if you've let it get to that point, the next steps are the bank will usually list the home or start the auction at the amount that you owe, and then they open it to the highest bidder. Whoever the highest bidder is purchases the home. Now, in allowing lenders to do non-judicial foreclosures in this way in the state of California, what that does for you is the person, the entity that holds your first note on the house, that's your primary mortgage, whatever they sell your house for to the highest bidder, whether it's exactly what you owe or they take less or whatever, they cannot come after you for the difference. So if they sell it for less than what you owe, you're done with them. You might get, well, you will get something for taxes to show that basically it's earned income, but they won't come after you. However, if you had an equity or any other type of loan secured by your home that didn't get paid with the sale, those people could potentially come back and try and sue you for the amount of money they didn't get paid. They can't stop the sale of the home from the primary lender based off of their notes against your home. So something to keep in mind. The first mortgage will definitely be resolved with that sale, but you could potentially still have second and third and fourth line of defense creditors coming for you. So please keep that in mind. However, again, there's usually a lot of equity and typically that's not happening. So something to remember, chances are it'll be okay, but if you do have that equity, that line of credit, maybe you did a loan for solar or something else on your home that is secured by the house, those creditors will not necessarily be reconciled with the sale of your home. Once it sells, the county will record the deed in the name of the new owner. And so now being no longer a owner of the home, you're a tenant. Some of these places will come and talk to you and perhaps allow you to rent the house from them if you now can make that payment. But most likely, they're going to serve you a notice to vacate the property. Now, from what I'm reading on this notice to vacate the property, is they will give you a 90-day notice, you or your tenants. So if there are tenants in place, they will get served a 90-day notice to vacate before any official eviction will be filed with your county. So again, this is a time when you can salvage what's left of your credit and leave willingly before it hurts you. Typically at this point, they may offer you something called cash for keys. So if you're willing to go without causing damage to the property, but you cannot afford it, this is the time to tell the person that now owns the house what's going on, and chances are they will help you move if you're willing to do so. If there is a lease in place, tenants' rights typically trump the 90 days. So typically they have to allow that lease to go through as long as payments are being made and the lease is being adhered to, and there's not a reason to evict based off of a failure to complete that contract. Once it ends, then they can give the normal notice to vacate and move forward from there. However, again, this is not legal advice. Make sure you speak to an attorney about any of the things I have on here to verify that you're getting the correct information. All right. So these are some of the things we talked about: modification, payment arrangements, payment deferment, forbearance, sale, short sale, or bankruptcy that can help you stay in your home or stay there longer, or allow you to take your power and walk away in a positive light, which would be talking to me. And we'll go ahead and get the home sold one way or the other. I'm very good at finding a buyer for you, and we can work together to find somewhere for you to go. Okay, so that's about it. For more information, please visit the Homeowners Bill of Rights. It's located at this site, and it is a live hyperlink, and I'll also put it in the link to this video. This is where we go over the laws that are there in place to protect you. If your lender has violated any of those laws, it will also give you the resources to where you need to go to report that. I also have a free homeowners resource. I have a book that I wrote, How to Sell Your Home Fast. And in life events, a lot of times we need to move. Time is of the essence, correct? So that's on my website at bethlogue.kw.com. It's a free guide for you. You do not have to sell with me if knowledge is power, right? So go there and find out what you need to do. And then this is my information. My name is Beth Logue. I'm a realtor. I work at Keller Williams Realty. My California DRE number is 02027-348. And you can reach me at my website, to my email, or my phone number. And I am located, my office is in Brookside. It's at 3133 West March Lane, Suite 1060, Stockton, California. I hope you found this helpful. I know it was a bit fast, but please, if you have any questions, concerns, any feedback, go ahead and like, share, hit the comments, subscribe so you get notified when I put up more videos. Thanks so much and have a great day.